Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome on this wonderful Friday. I am waving my hands as if you are all in the same geographical location as I am, but no, lucky you. Welcome to the only show you need, though, to get your latest security news, views, and fix.
Welcome to The Jarek Show, featuring your hosts, Javvad Malik and Eric Krohn. Timely topics, poorly presented.
Timely topics, poorly presented. That is what we do well. And speaking of poorly presented, how you doing, Eric?
Yeah, that is what we do well, indeed. Yes, very well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. You're looking good as well. Something different? Background, maybe?
Nothing.
You've got a new. Is that a new poster?
It's the lighting there. I changed that.
Just rubbing my chin, thinking, what could it be? But anyway,
this is a family-friendly show. Let's leave it. Moving on.
Moving swiftly on. You know what? Let's jump straight into the stories today. And I read this story and I thought, RT, does that stand for Russian trolling? But maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So what's this all about?
Yeah, so this is just, I saw this and I started thinking about it. You know, we've been hearing about election trolling and disinformation, misinformation and stuff for a while, right? But I think some people still don't believe that this happens as far as the misinformation, disinformation part. But I think it's important to understand that, well, quite frankly, this is a pretty major part of many nation state sorts of things. I mean, whether you're talking about Russia, Ukraine, whether we're talking about the Israel conflict over there and all that, this is all part of modern types of stuff. And what got me on this one was the sheer amount of money that's being pumped into this. There's a spot in here where they talk about like $10 million being spent with a company to get influencers, if you will, to put stuff out there. And I just, it's kind of eye-opening how big this problem really is. And for people on social media, you know, we end up, the algorithms help with this, of course, where they tie things right into basically an echo chamber for us. So it feeds us things that we already believe, which are oftentimes not necessarily the entire truth. But the more this stuff is out there, the more we're going to see stuff that backs the stuff that we believe that may not actually be true.
I know. And this is like, so I had a bit of that moment of realization a couple of days ago. So my dad recently got a smartphone, his first smartphone. He's like in his 80s. He had a dumb phone before, but, you know, he's still getting to grips with it. So he's discovered WhatsApp and he keeps in touch with a lot of his family abroad and whatever. So he just asked me like, who is WhatsApp and why do they let you make free calls and messages? They don't charge you. What's the catch? And I thought, you know, and I said, like, there's a saying in our industry, if you don't see the product, you are the product. And he goes, yeah, but what does that mean? So I started explaining to him about how the targeted advertising work, how, say, in Meta example for this, they have a family account like off Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and they try to tie it together and they figure out who's in the household, how much you make, what your interests are. They can sell that to targeted people. And then I said that same information can be used for exactly this kind of thing. Show me people who are slightly left of center or slightly right of center, start feeding them information, build up the trust in those sources and take it further and further. Yeah. So I went on this like 15-minute presentation without slides, explaining to my dad how this all from a simple question. And I think he looked at me at the end as like, my son's a conspiracy theorist. Surely this is true.
Well, no, it is interesting too. And you bring it up a little bit here. And now I don't love social media. Okay. That's no big deal. I don't. I'm on Facebook and stuff mostly for the family and for close friends, people that I personally know. Of course, we have to do some social in our jobs. LinkedIn is okay for certain things. But anyways, as I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm starting to think about how it's spreading, splitting, more is coming off, right? So We had Mastodon, the big push for Mastodon, and the X Twitter thing. Now we have Facebook and Instagram together, like you said, but now there's Threads, and I'm trying to figure out where the hell Threads falls into all this too. But you got the Facebook Reels, and then you got Instagram, then you got Threads, and then somewhere out there just floating around, I think with the young kids, is Instagram still. And that sort of stuff. But we keep like spinning off these new types. Okay. And then there's this one, it's Chinese. It's called TikTok. You might have heard of it, right?
Best one ever. That is such a great, you should not besmirch the good name of TikTok.
No, but if you think about the impact that social media has on a lot of people's lives, I mean, even me that tries to avoid social as much as possible, it's pretty immense. And then those people that live in it all day long, wow, like it's really got to almost at this point start shaping our lives. And to know that organizations are blowing $10 million on stuff just to drive election BS, right? Imagine the other stuff that's going on that we don't really understand in the background, or we don't see how they're shaping. Even culturally, Western culture being injected into other cultures and vice versa, right? This is a pretty serious thing that we really do need to kind of keep an eye on and make sure at least that people that are involved in social media understand that this is not all organic. There's stuff behind it.
Yeah. And I think one of the problems we've run into is now no one is entirely sure what source to trust, because everyone has got a source that they can quote as saying whatever they believe in, and they all look as equally reputable. They're like big news organizations or big websites, and
Brian Krebs.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to get sued. That's all.
From now on, we just say BK.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys look great. I'd pay a subscription fee for this. Excellent. Go
just
visit
buy our
us.
book.
Just go visit us on OnlyFans.
Oh God.
And speaking of OnlyFans.
Right. No,
don't try and hack into our account because this is one of those great stories. I was going to save this to last, but I think the segue was just too good.
No, that is perfect. Kind of funny because there are all these kinds of things popping up out there too. No pun intended. To make a few bucks.
Some hackers on hackers stuff going on. So there are different levels of hackers out there, and I think the more established or the criminals, they're now like out there thinking, hey, there's a lot of noob hackers out there who don't really know what they're doing. Oh, I was wondering if it was big Jericho. Oh, that's great. That is great.
I think we're going to be on OnlyFeed. I'm okay with that. Isn't there an OnlyFeed out there or something like that? Yeah. I wish I knew who LinkedIn user was. It drives me crazy when we can't see names. But
I know, it just
brilliant.
But yeah, so criminals were selling this hacking tool to other criminals, saying, "Hey, buy this tool off us, and you can hack into other people's OnlyFans accounts."
Yeah.
And so these people would, Thomas, only hacker fans, yes. This is brilliant.
Yeah, God, we are so far off right now. We just can't even concentrate.
We're not.
And by the way, LinkedIn user, it just rolled across my phone. It's none other than the great Garrett Gross.
Garrett Gross, my man.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, okay, let's focus a little bit, right?
Okay. Now I regret giving him so much credit for Jericho. But anyway. So I'll send Garrett. I've got your address. I'll send you some Jericho merch. Don't worry, I got you, fam. So this operation was found by researchers and what have you, that criminals would buy this tool thinking it would allow them to hack into people's OnlyFans. Instead, it just sucked up their credentials and sent it off to the hacker that sold it to them. So very hard to have any sympathy for these people. And I think when you think about it from a criminal perspective, it's really good. Who are they going to go to? Who were they? Are they going to complain to the police? I bought this illegal gun from somewhere on the underground and it doesn't fire bullets properly. Like, it's not going to happen.
It's like the old jokes with weed, I bought a bag and it's an ounce short, calling the police for that, right? Just the stuff like that back in the day. No, but it is kind of, it's funny. And a lot of people may not realize just how valuable some of these accounts were. We were just talking about social, but social media accounts. I mean, we all know Netflix accounts have been for sale for a long time, but stealing accounts can be a very profitable business for a lot of folks. It's not just for personal gain, but, for like using it themselves, for example, but selling it and using stuff like that to do other things. It's kind of ironic, though. I love the fact that there is no honor among thieves here.
No.
And more collaborators in the 90s. Yeah.
Thomas is right. This is it. I mean, back in the 90s, if you saw when Eric didn't have the goatee part, he only had his tash. That was very, very true. It was
the Tom Selleck mustache.
Right? Yeah, the Tom Selleck. Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah.
His
there's a lot of
wow.
Well, there is a lot of truth to the fact that the internet was basically made popular by cat videos, and and other sorts of things related to porn.
Yeah,
frankly.
Yes.
So
yes, and
it is.
Yeah. So you've got other things like Disney Plus account thieves. You've got Instagram accounts for sale. You got wannabe bot creators are lured with a Mirai variant.
Would you ever run anything called Mirai.exe? I don't care what the hell comes before it, but that's just a bad idea, right?
It's a terrible idea.
Now the funny thing is, these accounts are getting more valuable, and as we moved on, remember there was this thing called cable TV, right? And you paid a company like $75 a month for all these channels you don't watch, and then people got tired of that. And all these streaming things came on board, and like Netflix. And it's like, man, for $18 a month or whatever it used to be, $11 a month, I can get all the movies and shows I need. And now we have like 10 streaming accounts for $150 a month instead of what we used to do. But now it's gotten so expensive that people are also looking for ways around that. So if they can buy into something, it's a thing. I mean, we notice just in general, we're not huge sports people here in our house. My wife and I do like American football, though.
You don't look like
clearly superior
to me. So yeah.
Anyway, what we find is to be able to watch all of the games, you need to have subscriptions to like 4 different things. It's like Peacock over here and ESPN over here and Bob and Tom's whatever over here. Like every time we turn around. And even with the like NFL Sunday ticket and all that, you don't get all the games. You also need, it's like, holy crap, this can get expensive. We could easily drop $400 or $500 on not tickets to go see the games, but just to be able to watch them in our living room every year. So it's no wonder that people are being pushed into trying new things.
So it sounds like you are justifying or finding a reason to justify illegal streaming of shows or
I would
downloads.
Never do such a thing.
But you're making a very strong case that it's expensive now, so let me go to something illegal. Is that what you're saying?
I am simply saying
that's not how capitalism works, my friend. Now, if you want to say like, everyone should get everything for free, then that's just like plain old red. And I think that Russian trolling 2.0, that pushing of that agenda is slowly getting to you. So, Mr.
Maybe it's not me. Maybe I'm a deep fake, and that's why I can't have the long beard.
Mr. I still run Kaspersky on all my machines.
Kaspersky? What's wrong with Kaspersky?
They're banned from October, isn't it? In the US?
I think government. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Don't post that one.
Oops. I did
No,
not
I'm
read it
kidding.
before I
Go
hit.
ahead. Go ahead. It's fine. It's fine. It's actually quite funny. But this is a PG show, so let's be careful. Thank you for the asterisk. I don't know
Yes.
if you put that in there, Thomas, but either way, thank you, you or filters.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is very true. But
Yep.
now speaking of vulnerabilities and account takeover, our piracy comrade, yes, Garrett, who's probably
Oh, Lord have
running still.
mercy.
I think Garrett still runs LimeWire somewhere in his house, and he's like, can't understand why the new Eminem MP3.exe does not work.
I'm still waiting on that one download that was going to take like 72 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Back with Windows. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
it would work if, like, you know, your wife or your kids would stop getting on the house phone and disconnecting you.
God, man. So many people don't remember those days and the horror that would happen after like 3 hours of trying to download something and somebody picks up the phone and goes, "Hey," and oh Lord, that was Kazaa.
Kazaa,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, Team Kazaa.
Oh man,
Right, yeah.
we're bringing this
I
is like
know.
reminiscing, man. This is like sitting on the porch going, "Do you remember kids back in the day?" We'll be rocking pretty soon, talking to Garrett about the old stuff. I remember when I had AOL, it didn't tell me I had mail, and I was excited to get an email when I checked in.
So, speaking of accounts being compromised,
Oh
I
God,
saw
you had
this
to
one a
put this
couple
one
of days
in.
ago, and I just wanted to just throw it in just to say that, like, you know, this is also scary when you get hardware like YubiKeys, and I'm a big fan of YubiKeys. Although, kudos to The Verge. Thank you so much for putting in the headline, but it's difficult to exploit.
Thank
Which
you.
actually makes a big difference. So thank you. That is very responsible journalism. It's not like ambulance chasing, because I've seen so many things like, oh, YubiKeys are broken now and useless. No, they're not. They're still very, very good. Don't stop using them. They're very good.
I was very close. I was almost motivated enough to do my own little like PSA video on this because there's just so much BS flying around about it and sensationalism. I mean, I am sort of a YubiKey fan myself. I mean, here's my keychain with, but yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
YubiKey
was that really
thing.
15 years ago? No.
I do
not.
you
remember? Do you remember the Robin Sage saga?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like so someone created this fake LinkedIn profile of an attractive looking lady, and she was able to catfish so many people. You know, people offering her jobs, offering, say, like married men were saying, hey, why don't we go on a date or something, or whatever, and stuff like that. And it was just it was
yes.
It was a great exercise. Yeah. So it was 15 years ago.
It really and truly was 15 years ago. There's the wiki article on it there. That's
It was me. Hold on. This is the Thomas Ryan. Yes, if you look at Wikipedia. Okay.
Damn it, man.
I did not realize we were in the presence of greatness.
No kidding. No kidding.
Okay. Thomas, you're here. Why don't you join us next week on the show, please?
Yeah.
And we'd love to have you and chat to you about social engineering and the whole background behind this. And
holy crap! Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Wow. Okay. I feel awed, Javvad. I mean, all these years of doing this and finally someone that matters, other than Garrett, of course, has actually come to our show. All right, sweet. Oh man.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, cool. We will be in touch after the show.
Indeed.
So this was a great honey trap, social engineer, whatever. Just shows how easy it is to just deceive people when they're not thinking straight.
Yeah.
and
yeah.
what have you. So
Yeah,
we've
what the
got
hell
another
were we
story.
talking about?
We had a last story. Shall we go into that, or let's just
I don't
touch on
even
it?
remember what the one we were just talking about was about.
Oh, that was YubiKeys.
Oh
YubiKeys.
yeah, the YubiKeys. That's right. That's right. So here's one thing about those YubiKey things you may hear about. TPMs and stuff are also included in some of this. It has to do with the Infineon, I think it was, cryptography stuff. Although those are generally updatable through Flash, where YubiKeys cannot. Folks, I just want to put this out there so you don't have to read the whole thing, but basically, for somebody to exploit it, they have to have physical access to your key, some specialized hardware, and all kinds of crap like that, and potentially even pins and stuff like that that lock it down. It is not that easy. Please don't stop using them. If you're a target for like a nation state or something like that, maybe keep your keys with you. Other than that, please don't panic about this one. Please don't. Okay, enough said. That's what I wanted to get out on that. Man.
Yeah, that's actually really good advice, and it's one of those things. It reminds me of like Microsoft published these 10 immutable rules of cybersecurity a long time ago. So it's like a retired article now. But I think one of the points was like, if someone has physical access to your machine, it's not your machine anymore. So
Yeah.
I really like that. It's like, if someone actually physically can get to your machine, it doesn't matter what controls you have in place, you can assume breach.
Yeah, absolutely. Same with like the YubiKeys. They can clone them if they have stuff to do it, but they're not likely to do that.
Stuff, whatever.
Right, exactly. Okay, moving on.
This side of the pond, the fraud and scam complaints have reached the highest ever quarterly level, according to data released by the Financial Ombudsman Service. So from April to June, more than 8,700 cases. Over half of these cases related to online bank transfers.
Shocking.
And this is really interesting because I think now everyone's really getting in a weird place where banks used to be able to comfortably cover fraud losses like this, but now they're reaching a really high level. People are getting defrauded all the time. One of family friends of ours, their son, he got a message from, he says it was within the banking app that he uses, but it's not sure whether I'm skeptical about that. But it was something about his account is going to get closed and he needs to move his money to a different account, and he did it. He's a young kid, so and so like there was 2 banks involved or something. One of them says it was fraud, and the other was like, no, this isn't fraud. This was like user initiated and whatever they're trying to, wash their hands off it and what have you.
It's tough for them, and I don't blame the financial institutions. I mean, it was kind of hard to do, but there's a lot of stuff these days that people just aren't careful and they're not paying attention, and we really should know better sometimes. So we have that responsibility line there. Like, at what point do you become responsible for doing something like this? Okay. And at what point is it an accident? Have you seen the Chase Bank thing that's been going around that there was like the quote unquote glitch? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, they knew what they were doing. That's fairly clear that was intentional. But then I'm sure some people are arguing, well, why did it let me do that? You shouldn't have let me do that. Therefore, you should cover it. I cannot believe that people actually thought they were going to get away with that and that it was going to work out in the end. And they did this. And now, I mean, we're talking about jail time. This is check fraud. This is financial fraud. And I just cannot believe that these fools actually did this. But it's the same sort of thing. They're irresponsible. They're not thinking. They just don't understand. I don't know at what point in time it's a responsibility of the person. I mean, if you go to a gas pump and you pay for your gas and your card gets skimmed, that's probably not on you. That should be on either the place that allowed the skimmer on their device or whatever. But in some of this stuff, you should have some responsibility for it. It's a tough thing. I don't know exactly where we draw that line, but it is something that I think needs to be covered more and more in discussions that we have.
Yeah, I think so. And what's also concerning about this is right at the end over here, the UK payments. Previously, the maximum reimbursement value at £415,000, which is now likely to be released to
85,000
to 85,000. And now I know a lot of people are sitting there thinking, well, I don't have 85,000 pounds in my bank account, so I've got nothing to worry about. But you also got to remember a lot of these fraud attacks like people's pension pots and what have you. So they'll phone up someone saying, hey, I'm calling from your pension advisor. You need to move all your pension money here and it'll be better for you or what have you. And so there's maybe a couple of £100,000 or more in some cases, some people's entire life savings.
Down payments on homes. Yeah, that's another one.
Down payments on home. Exactly. People inject themselves into that process. So it's very, very. I mean, have you seen airplane ticket prices these days? If you're flying like business class to like,
anything but economy class. If you'd like to take a bag with you,
exactly.
We have mortgage advisors here to speak with you as well.
I know. Although I did see that yesterday, I saw this story about a Temu factory caught fire, and there was like tens of dollars of damage.
Right.
so yeah.
Oh man, yeah. The team. You know what? We've heard of this before. You started purchasing from AliExpress. I know this is a thing for you. Have you tried Temu yet?
No, my daughter started Temu last year, but now she's kind of got off it because while you get stuff that's like 50 pence, it actually looks like it's 50 pence. It doesn't look like anything. You could dress up as anything beyond that.
It's like the jokes where everybody's getting the mini versions from Wish. You know what I mean? Like jack stands, and they end up being this tall. You know, it's like there's so much like shady stuff out there when it comes to that. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm in some ways, even like Amazon is getting infiltrated with a bunch of absolute crap these days. Like I used to feel good about getting something on Amazon, and anymore I'm kind of like, man, this is absolute garbage. And some of the stuff that Amazon is doing is actually making me switch back on TikTok is through Temu.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. That is true. It is 100%. Actually, on TikTok, I opened up the app the other day, and there was like I had 4 or 5 messages from different companies wanting to say, hey, will you promote our product on it? So some skincare stuff. And I said, have you seen my skin? No one wants to take my recommendation on skincare.
You can look like me.
Yeah.
Look at how thick and lush my hair is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. It's kind of funny though. I'm feeling the evolution of actually going back to eBay on a lot of things these days, believe it or not. It's coming full circle at this point.
I was looking at a few things on eBay, and one of the selling points that some person had written is like, the stuff is here in the UK and I can ship it to you immediately. It's not coming from China. And I was like, sold.
Now, I will admit, I still get these like little single board computers and stuff that I screw around with and stuff off of AliExpress because it's just so damn cheap. And we still have these shipping things in place that make it. We could not ship this stuff across the US for the same price that they're selling the whole item. Not even close to it, but because we have these agreements in place, it's made that a thing. So crappy stuff on Amazon. Yep. There's so much of this drop shipping. Oh, that stuff annoys me. You know, for the last few months, about 4 or 5 like of my cousins or whatever, hey, we've heard about drop shipping. Or one of my friend's sons, he was like, hey, you know IT, do you know about? And I'm like, no, we are not drop shipping anything. Go and study. Everyone's looking for that quick dollar. I mean, they really are. It's looking for the quick buck.
They are.
Now, do you have Etsy in the UK over there?
Yeah,
Etsy?
I've never used it. I've never bought anything from Etsy myself. But,
Yeah, it's one of those interesting sites. You can get some homemade stuff and things like that on there, but
yeah.
it's terrible for sellers because I've seen so many people have their accounts shut down because somebody complained that it was a copyright strike.
Oh,
Even though they didn't own it, it was like competitors, and then they just shut everything down, and you can't reach a human.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
insane. That seems to be a thing these days. I was looking, and I know we're kind of going off. We're going today, but I was actually on Facebook today looking at something like jumping around, and they were talking about the Meta Verified that you can pay for. And one of
Oh,
the things on there was like you can have tech support. And it makes me think about those times that I've tried to help people recover their accounts that have been taken over by bad actors, right? Even with police reports and stuff like that, because the account's being used to scam, trying to get a hold of someone at Facebook is impossible. You end up in this like loop of stuff trying to get the accounts back, and there are no humans to help you ever. And I think it's kind of funny that just $12 a month or whatever it is for the Meta Verified, you might be able to actually get some sort of tech support is a selling point for them. It's gotten that bad these days.
yeah, yeah. So I saw actually something today. We are really going off of tangents, but
Yeah, we are.
Joomla, their Facebook page got suspended because
Ah,
someone claimed it was. Let me just pull up the story here quickly. What happened to Joomla? Someone cited impersonation. Yeah. So,
oh, word.
you just can't get anything. So I think, people are now like it's hard to keep trust of people. You can entice people with a cheap deal every now and then,
Yeah.
but you might buy something from Temu once, but you're not going to go back there and buy it again. And like,
Yep.
it's like one time I got a colleague from Temu. I'm not getting one again from there.
Oh, wow. I don't remember. One of our colleagues, who I'm not going to name, actually saw this thing on one of these sites, and I don't remember which. It might have been Facebook or one of those, but it was like the periodic table of elements in resin. Like it was this really
Uh-huh.
cool, like acrylic block, and it had real pieces of these different elements, and it was really kind of a cool thing. I actually have it around here. He gave me one. But he
Yep.
ordered like 3 of these things, and they came in and they were like 1/10 the size that he thought it was going to be. I mean, you could almost not see these elements that were in there. It's that kind of stuff. He's never going to order from that again.
No.
But they got him once, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. We should probably wrap it up,
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So, with that, thank you everyone for joining us today. Had a great time, and thank you for your participation. Thank you, Garrett Gross. Thank you, Thomas Ryan, and thank you to everyone else who was too shy to comment publicly. And we'll see you again next week. Until then, stay safe.